With Alpha, I've been trading since the beginning of December, and I'm at 120,000 with Alpha. You're gonna hit it, and you're gonna hit your stride, and then it's like crazy up from there. I never thought I would reach the level that I'm at.
Okay, so we're here with Maggie, one of our funded traders over at Alpha Futures, doing very, very well, especially recently. So we wanted to hop on, get a little interview going, talk about her life, talk about trading. So yeah, Maggie, you want to give us a little intro into who you are, where you're from?
All right, yeah, sure. So my name's Maggie. I'm from the Detroit, Michigan area. I've lived here my whole life. I've been trading for about 4.5 years, probably. I started kind of like right after COVID. I know a lot of people started at that time. Originally started with options, which was good. It was up and down. And then made my way to the futures world through prop firms. I had a friend introduce me to some prop firms. And actually, I found out that futures was a lot better for me. Options with the Greeks and everything is pretty difficult. It can be difficult to trade, especially if you're trading zero DTs. So futures without the expiration and the moves with the rest of the Greeks, it worked a lot better with my style. So
Awesome.
I've been trading futures for 2.5 years now, so not that long. I work full time still. I'm a software and a data engineer. I have a full life outside of
Yeah.
trading. Trading is very much a side hustle, but I love it. I want it to be a part of my life for the rest of my life because it's a huge part of my life. I love it.
Yeah, you got a passion for it. Awesome. So if I can backtrack, you said initially you were trading options. Were you finding success while trading options?
It was very up and down. So if you guys remember, like the 2020, 2021 market,
Yeah, yeah.
we had lots of volatility.
Of
And
course.
after that COVID drop, we went straight up. So it was really easy to just buy calls and make money. And then into later 2021, we started to get some more volatility again and into that bear market. And I didn't know how to trade that. So basically, all the money I made, I lost all of it and had to basically start from scratch again.
Okay, cool. And then you eventually made your transition to futures. What was it about the futures market that brought you? You said maybe was it a friend that introduced you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, and
Yep, I
then
had a friend.
sorry,
Yeah,
go
he
ahead.
had started. Yeah, I had a friend who was trading with Apex actually, and he was like, "You should check this out. Like, you're a pretty good trader. You know what you're doing. Futures might be a move for you, so you don't have to deal with the Greeks."
Awesome. And then coming into futures, what was the learning curve like? Did you were you applying systems or strategies you were using in options, or did you have to learn a whole new system in order to trade futures? What was that kind of yeah? What was that curve like for you?
I use the exact same strategy. I trade futures almost exactly like I trade options. It was just learning the mechanics of the futures market. It just moves a little bit different. Learning the different products and learning how things move. That was really it. But I apply the same strategies and tactics I do for options with futures.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. So, what does your day to day look like as of today? What assets do you trade? What is a normal day in the life for Maggie right now?
So I trade mostly the NQ, the nasty Nasdaq, crazy. I've been trying to
Yeah,
dabble into the metals as well. I know gold and silver have been crazy this year.
very
I
very
do a little.
volatile right now.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Nasdaq, honestly, and the ES have been pretty difficult to trade. It's been really choppy. So having those other two assets is nice to be able to open up to that. So this year was my first year trading gold. I would like to move into silver a little bit. Haven't really done that yet, but I have a lot of friends who do that. So I'm mostly trading the Nasdaq. Um, Day in the life, I'm up at 4:35 in the morning to go to the gym. I work out every single day. I'm a huge weightlifter, CrossFit. I love it.
That's awesome.
Um, so I get up every day, go to the gym, get home around 7 o'clock, take care of my dog. I have a hound. He's my life. I love him. And so home about 7 o'clock, shower, eat, pre-market prep until about 9. So I do chart every single morning. I chart Nasdaq, ES, SPY, QQQ,
How
gold.
important is that pre-market open for you to do this whole analysis? Do you give yourself like an hour's time to kind of go through this? Is this like an everyday routine as well? Do you stick to that?
Every single day, every day during the morning, 1 to 2 hours. I like to have a closer to that 2 hours so I can really understand what's going on in the market. It's super important to know where you are on a larger time scale, especially as future traders. Like we can get stuck in that 2 minute, 5 minute chart
Of
and
course.
then you don't really know where you are. And so having the larger market context is super important. And I notice that if I don't do my full prep and I don't like write down exactly what I'm looking for, I'm probably going to be right on the day.
And
It's
does that
like
only
almost
come
a
from a
guarantee.
technical? Of course, yeah. Does that only come from a technical perspective, or are you also looking at fundamentals to help drive your analysis for the day?
It's mostly technical. I like to stay aware of like the economic calendar and
Of
what's
course.
going on, earnings, news drops, just because that does affect the price action, obviously. But you watch the market long enough and you notice, like, even though we've got these technical news or these fundamental news things that can happen, it almost always happens at a technical level that I already had charted anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
I could trade without the news.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah.
It's almost all technical, yeah.
And then, okay, so you have that pre-market before obviously the market opens up. Very
Mhm.
important for you on a daily basis. And then when the market does open up, are you typically only ever trading the AM session? Do you ever focus on the PM session? What are your rules? What does your plan look like in that aspect?
I try to stay in the New York AM only. I really try not to trade after hours or pre-market's okay about like 8 o'clock, like around 8 o'clock Eastern. That's okay. And sometimes I will take a trade in the pre-market if it looks really good and but it's got to be at a level. So I'm trading totally off of my levels. So if we're not at a level, I'm not taking a trade. I like to be done by around 11:30 noon. If I'm sitting at the computer all day, I know there's a problem. I
Yeah,
shouldn't
of
be doing
course.
that. I should be able to take those trades and be done by noon.
Yeah. Nothing ever happens good if we sit there and
No,
kind of force yourself into an entry. Like there's
yeah,
something.
it's forcing it
Yeah.
exactly because
You
then
know,
you zoom out. I step back and it's like, oh well, we're just sitting in the middle of the range. Why am I taking entries here?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, this is
what do
something
you
everybody
do?
always talks about, but eventually, like, you sit there for so much time, even though, like, subconsciously you're like, there's nothing really to trade. Eventually, if you sit there for long enough, you will end up taking something probably
You're just
off your
gonna do it.
plan. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. I definitely agree. Um,
Mhm.
so do you want to give us a little a little summary into how you trade, a little bit about your system, from again, a technical perspective?
Sure. So, yeah, I do trade a lot on, I don't like to say it's feel or intuition, but it kind of is. So, I've been watching the market every single day for 5 years now. So, you kind of learn how these instruments move, especially if you pick like one or two that you trade only. So, like the Nasdaq, you're going to learn what it's going to do. So, I trade off of technical levels. So, I use like supply and demand, support and resistance, whatever you want to call it. I chart on a larger time frame first, and I work my way down to the smaller time frames. So like daily levels, obviously super important. 4 hour, 1 hour, all the way down. Um, my major levels in supply and demand zones aren't really going to come off anything smaller than a 30 minute, but I
Okay,
do always have previous day high and low, pre market high and low, and the yesterday's close level. Those are also on my charts. Um,
cool.
and
And then,
then
and then when it comes down to lower time frames, what entries are you usually taking, or sorry, what time frames are you usually taking entries on?
The 2 minute is about as low as I'll go.
Okay, awesome. And is that usually the
Mhm.
most common time frame to use for yourself?
2 and 5 is going to be where I take my entries. And then I just use price action and watching. I do watch the level too. I don't really know how to explain how I watch it, but again, like I said, you watch it for so long, you get a feel for when those trends are going to continue or when we're going to get a reversal. I use market internals too. So if you're familiar with like the ADD and the tick, watching the VIX as well, those are super important to get a feel of like, okay, are we going to break this level? Are we going to hold? But just watching strictly the price action at those levels to make my decision of what I want to do.
Awesome, yeah. And I like what you said. You said something about like building a level of intuition, and I feel like that only comes from raw experience and time on the
Screen
charts.
time.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on that real quick. How important do you think it is actually building that experience? Like, of course, there's no holy grail system at the end of the day out there. It all comes down to experience on the charts, repetition on the charts. So
Yeah,
how important was that for you?
I think it's one of the most important things because you start to recognize patterns in the market, and that's really all it is like pattern recognition. That's what we're doing. So it gives you the confidence to actually take those entries and to trust your entries, not to stop out early. It helps you to properly size, like, okay, this looks like it's going to go, but maybe not. So I'm going to size a little bit smaller just in case, and I can add into it. And then when you see what you want to see, if you're confident in that, then you can add in big to your winners. And, you really need to be adding into your winners to take advantage of those.
No, that's awesome. And I like what you just said there. So you kind of take more of a, I'm assuming, a dynamic risk approach where
Yes.
maybe lower risk on specific setups and then higher risk on other setups. So how
Mm-hmm.
has that changed your trading? Is that something you've adapted recently?
Yes. As my confidence has grown, I've been able to, it's really adding into the winners. So I typically will start with the same smaller size, um, one mini. Usually, I don't really trade micros, sometimes, but very rarely. So usually 1 to 2 minis. But if it's a good setup and it's moving in my way, and especially if we're at a big level, like a 4 hour, an hourly level, like I will add into that 5, 6 minis, and then that's where your big winners come from, and it helps to balance out all the losers.
That's awesome. I've really felt like dynamic risk is something that the more experienced trader can adapt. I feel like for
Yeah.
the less experienced, it's not maybe the route they want to go yet. They
Mm-hmm.
want to build that repetition, build that consistency
You need
first
the
before.
repetition, you need the
Yeah,
confidence, you need to be able to see, like, yes, this is my setup and it's moving. Let's put
yeah.
the risk on.
I found definitely found a common theme amongst more consistent and profitable traders. They will take the dynamic risk approach
Mm-hmm.
rather than just sticking with a static fixed risk all the time. It's good to kind of, like you said, when you build that intuition from experience, you're able to size into those winners more and more and more. Right? Would you
Yep.
agree?
Yep. 100%.
Awesome. Um, so I wanted to talk about more of your success story now. So since you started to see more results in trading, um, how does that feel, right? Because I feel like the journey is long, the journey is lonely, and then when you start seeing those results, it could be from a financial standpoint, or just seeing results overall in yourself, and then eventually in your trading.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
It's surreal. I mean, I don't want to say that I never doubted that I could, that I couldn't do it. Like I always knew I could, but it's just one of those things where it's like, dang, like, it takes a lot of time. I mean, it's 4 or 5 years. So that's a lot of time. And, it sucks losing money. Like, that's not fun. It's not fun having a bunch
Of
of prop
course,
fees on your credit cards. Like, dang, I need to pay out to pay these off. Like, that's not fun. Um, it's just crazy. Like, I never thought the success curve though is exponential. So, you're going to hit it and you're going to hit your stride, and then it's like crazy up from there. I never thought I would reach the level that I'm at.
no, that's so awesome. It's like you said, it's a long journey. It can be very lonely. It's painful. And yeah, when you're in that stage of you're buying evaluations, you're failing them. Again, you look at the credit card, you're racking them up. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's not an easy journey, and a lot of traders they're stuck in that current phase right now, where they are losing, and they're struggling to find results. So what would be maybe a couple tips that you have that helped yourself? Was it maybe um, a turn in your psychology? Was it maybe you fixed a rule in your plan? What was maybe a couple of different variables that helped you achieve more consistency?
Yeah. So a couple of things that really stand out, in my memory is one, really like taking that pre-market prep seriously. So you're charting every single day and you're journaling, you're writing down what is your plan. Okay, I'm taking spy calls at 600 and puts at 604. Like literally writing it down so in your mind where your entries are, and then you can look back and you can say, "Hey, did I follow my plan or not?" And then you'll soon realize, when I follow my plan, I'm green. When I don't, I'm red. So that is going to help like speed that up in your mind to be like, okay, stop
Of
being an
course.
idiot. Stop taking entries in the middle of channels. Um, and the second thing is surrounding yourself with a group of successful traders. So I'm part of a couple different communities, specifically the Insiders and the 80/20 group. Those are my two groups I'm most active in. And it was a direct correlation from joining those groups, and my success curve went parabolic. You need to be surrounded with other traders who are successful so that you can see, like, okay, anybody can do this. Like, you can do this too. You have people around you to help, like bouncing ideas off of other
Yep.
people. listening to other people's perspective on the markets, not taking trades from other people, but just using the feedback and the information to help you make your decisions.
That's awesome. I love that filling your circle up with other successful traders.
Yes.
It can definitely be motivating at
Mm-hmm.
times where maybe you're going through a tough period or a losing period, yet you have people around you that are doing well, so it motivates you to keep going. Right? Would you
Yeah,
agree?
and there's people who are doing good and bad at all times of the market. Like, December was a tough month for a lot of people, but that was my best month. So, even if you're having a tough time, someone else might not be, and they can kind of tell you what they're seeing and how they're reading the market, and that could help you as well.
No, I love that. Earlier on, you mentioned that you are working full time, so you have a whole other life outside of trading. I know there's many, many people out there that are in the same shoes as you. They work a full time job, whether that be a 9 to 5, or maybe they're working overnight, trading in the mornings.
Mhm.
Now, what does life look for you with a full time job? How are you able to juggle both?
Well, luckily I work from home.
Okay.
Being a software engineer and the trader kind of goes hand in hand. So I've got my trading desk right here, and then to my right, I've got my work desk. So I've got two setups in my office here. I try to stay focused on the market from 9 to 11 ish. Usually my meetings start around 11 o'clock, so it's kind of a good thing to have that job because it pulls me away at 11 o'clock. So okay, now I have to do meetings. I do have work to do. I
Okay.
can't sit in front of the market all day long. Like, I have other things that I need to do. So it helps me because if I'm just trading, I'm just gonna sit and I'm gonna trade all day and I'm gonna overtrade. So having the full time job, I think, does help me. Am I going to have one forever? I don't know, probably not, but I'll find something else to do. You need things outside of trading. You can't just sit and trade all day long.
Yes, that's something that's spoken about a lot in this industry is that people preach, especially the more successful and profitable traders, they preach how important it is to have other streams of income outside of trading. How
Yep.
has that helped you?
Well, that's the other thing too, is with my full-time job, like, my bills are covered. So I don't have to worry about getting a payout to pay my mortgage. Um, I have to worry about not buying too many evals, like, because obviously, like, you only make so much money at your job, so you do have to, like, watch that cost. But it's not like I'm trading like I have to make money, or I'm trading with money I can't lose. That's another important thing, is like making sure that, like, you're comfortable and, like, truly you're only trading with money that you can afford to lose. It's hard with props because you can put them on a credit card, which is, like, not great. Um, but I mean, again, like, if you think you can do it, then I mean, go for it, because a couple of payouts will pay it off like that.
Yeah,
So that's the other thing. Like, you get like two or three payouts and you're clean.
yeah,
So
100%.
yeah.
Now, when you were in that period of buying challenges and maybe you were failing them, passing some, like kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
short-term profitable period, um, when you hit the point of achieving more payouts,
Mm-hmm.
what was it? Something that was it a tool that helped you? Was it again maybe a change in your plan to achieve more consistent payouts? Because there's a lot of traders out there that hit a point of maybe achieving a payout, failing, and then blowing the account, and then maybe
Mm-hmm.
another payout, but then blowing the account. What's something that's helped you achieve more of a consistent payout route? You could call it.
It's the pre-market prep. Like, that's honestly, like, that's the biggest thing for me, is just making sure I'm aware of where the market is, what it's doing. Are we moving up? Are we moving down? Are we chopping? That, because that's in my mind all day when I'm going to make trades. And if I don't know where we're at or what we're doing, that's when I'm going to take bad trades. If I
What
know
about
what's going on, and I know where we are, I will make the right decision.
100%? Now, what about from maybe an account standpoint? Do you like trading all three accounts at once? Do you like trading individual? Is there maybe certain risk parameters on certain accounts that you don't do on others?
So I trade with multiple props, and I just trade each prop individually. So,
Okay,
like, my alpha accounts, I will copy trade all three of them.
I see. Okay.
And then some other accounts at a different prop, I will copy trade those. So I don't copy trade everything with, like, a replicanto or something. But I do copy trade, within props. Yes.
Okay, so you will trade all three accounts at once.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now from like maybe like a buffer standpoint, there's a lot of people out there, they like to build a small buffer. Maybe they use smaller risk in order to achieve a small buffer in the account. And then once they hit that buffer, they like sizing up a little bit more. Is that something you like doing as well?
No, it's dependent on the setup. Like, because if I see a good trade, I'm not just going to be like, oh, I'm just going to, take a small size just because I'm building a buffer. If
Okay,
it's a good
100%.
trade, I'm going to size into it. Yeah.
100%. I love that. So basically, your chart dictates what your risk is going to be on the trades.
Yeah. At this point, yes. I mean, previously, like when I was first starting, I probably, I would size smaller. Not now though.
That's awesome. And I feel like
Yeah.
that only comes via the growth you've had as a trader.
Yeah. hmm
Awesome.
I
Did want
don't
to ask
trade
you?
any different. I do the same exact things. I just, it's the dynamic risk management. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. I know I love that. I definitely agree with that. Now coming from why alpha futures actually, I wanted to ask, what do you like about alpha futures? Has it been a smooth experience overall?
Yeah, yeah, everything has been great. I've had not a single issue with anything. Payouts are fast, account activations are fast, support is fast. If I have a question, I originally looked at Alpha because I like no consistency. Because I don't like to have to cap my reward if I see a good trade. So I try to stay away from those props with consistencies. I also like that your 150K has the biggest buffer out of any of the accounts. The 5250 buffer, I think it is almost $1,000 more than what a normal 150K buffer is. So I appreciate the extra buffer because when you start to size in, like that becomes important at the start. So, because a lot of times it's like, dang, I got wicked out of my position and then it went, but it's, because you only had $4,000 of buffer or $3,000 of buffer. Sometimes it's not enough. I mean, it just is what it is. The Nasdaq is crazy. It can wick
No,
up and down, and
100%.
sometimes you need that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I definitely agree. And in the payout kind of experience with you, from requesting it to receiving it, how has that whole experience been as well?
I have no complaints. It's been very quick. Within if it's during the week, it's within 24 hours. Even over the weekend, it's like as soon as it becomes business hours, that payout is approved and it's sent. Within 12 hours. So no issues.
That's awesome. So, and then sorry, you briefly mentioned the no consistency. So you like trading the advanced accounts?
Yes, yes, I trade the advanced accounts.
Awesome. And you like sticking to 150s.
hmm
Have you ever tried the smaller accounts, or did you just immediately go up to the bigger accounts? A lot of traders, they will initially start with the smaller ones. Is that something you did to begin with?
So when I first started trading props, yes, I did trade. I traded the 50Ks, not alpha because you guys weren't around yet, or at least in the U.S. here. But in other props, I did start with 50Ks, even 25Ks when those started getting
100, yep.
introduced because it keeps your costs down. So I did start with that. Now because I like to size up more, I'm more confident. I almost exclusively trade 150Ks.
That's awesome. Now, going forward for yourself, what are some goals you have set for yourself? That could be within Alpha Futures, that could be with other props as a whole. What are some goals you have set for yourself trading wise?
So I'm currently live with one prop firm. I would like to go live with more. I would love to go live with Alpha. That's definitely on my radar. So going live with more of the prop firms is something that I would like to do as well. Um, I've got payout targets that I would like to meet for myself. Just it's always important to have those goals. You don't want it to be the forefront in your mind because then you're going to start forcing stuff. But I do have payout targets I would like to hit for myself. And then eventually, I do want to turn trading and things about trading into my full-time career and not have to have that full-time job. I would like to possibly start teaching. I have a small Discord that I started, just a handful of my friends that I'm just, I'll just put my market commentary out there and just be like, hey guys, like I'm looking at this, maybe try looking at this, stuff like that. So that's another goal. Just trying to free up as much time in my life as I can to do the things that I love to do outside of working.
That's awesome because I feel like there's not a lot of jobs out there that will give you that, right? And I feel like trading is one of them, and that's why probably a lot of people end up coming to trading is because of the
Mhm.
freedom, the time it gives you. However,
You can always
it,
make
it could
more
also
money
be a
if you make
downside.
more time.
Yeah, 100%. I
So,
definitely
yeah.
agree. Um, awesome. And I wanted to ask you, what's your total payouts looking like now with Alpha Futures?
With Alpha, I've been trading since the beginning of December, and I'm at 120,000 with Alpha.
Wow. So that
So in
puts you at
just
over
over a month.
six, yeah, six figures in just over a month.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So obviously there's going to be a lot of people that look up to you. They want to be in the position you're in. Obviously they have to work towards it. It doesn't just come just like this.
No.
However, what would be some of your best tips to the people out there still struggling, still staring at the computer, wondering when their time will be?
Don't overcomplicate it. Price and price action is going to be king. So really learn, like, you can, whatever system you use, like, honestly, like, it all probably works. It doesn't matter what your system is, but you need to be able to read price. So reading price action is going to be number one. Number two is going to be your pre-market prep, making sure you're doing that. You know what's going on in the market. And number three is going to be surrounding yourself with a strong group of traders.
That's awesome. I really appreciate it. A lot of good advice, a lot of good tips. I really appreciate you hopping on with us. Say six figures in just over a month's time is absolute. I don't think that we've had a trader that's done that yet. I think you might be the first person, so that's absolutely incredible.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean,
But
even me saying that out loud, like, I mean, that's more than I make in my job
no, of
in a whole
course. I mean,
year.
I
Like,
mean,
that's so
it's not a
crazy.
common occurrence to find people that do that. So it's
Yeah.
motivating. It's awesome to see. I'm excited to see what you accomplish. I'm sure you're going to be at Alpha Prime in no time as well. So you're going to
Hmm.
be doing your thing with us. But yeah, I wish you nothing but the best in your trading journey and also with us at Alpha Futures. I